Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Julia McNeil Crafts. So today, as you may have seen by the title, it is time for the Crafting Together All Brands collaboration. So Crafting Together All Brands is a Facebook group and we encourage you to use as many different brands together. We're all about using your stash, using what you've got, providing inspiration, just being a community, and that is what we strive to do. So we have regular inspiration in our Facebook group, but also once a month we do a collab, which consists normally of members of the admin team and some of our fabulous guests that are willing to, you know, do lives for us. So today we have the theme of upcycling, and I have this, which I squirreled away. I am a random person that sort of squirrels away cardboard and packaging going, ooh, that's nice packaging. But I like the shape of this. And I was thinking that it would make, oh, I've got so much to show you here. It would make an interesting page to go in this journal. So this is a journal that I've made using a Mad Hatter's kit. I can link to that below. So this will be like a shaped page that will fit nicely in that journal. So that is where I am going with that. Now quite often I like to use my scrap papers and make little housey scenes. So I quite often like to cut up my scraps into random bits. I actually think I may have a YouTube tutorial on this somewhere. I will have a look. But yeah, so I like to just cut all my scraps into random shapes and build a little scene of quirky houses. So this is something that sort of appeals to me. So I'm going to be doing a take on that today, but slightly differently. I need to re-glue the embellishment. I have to fix that in a bit. Anywho, so I'm just going to start. I want plainish paper. I'm going to start by just trying to cover all of this up, and then from there we will start to build elements like the windows and doors and bits and pieces like that. So let's just, actually probably be better to stick the glue on here. So I'm not using any fancy glue. This is the Tonic Studio Nouveau glue. It's the most Julia proof one I've found, and I don't clog up. I mean, I still clog up the nozzle, but it is me we're talking about. So I'm just going to kind of want to, I think I can patch the, oh mind you, I'll probably be covering the roof at some point. So I'll be covering quite a lot of elements of this. This is just to sort of get a basic coverage. As I said, I'm just going to concentrate on one side of this. I may do the other side of this in the group at some point. So I'll do one side in the YouTube today, and then if you're interested in seeing the other side, I will do the other side as a Facebook Live in the group. That's a plan, because if I try and do both sides today, we will just be here all day, and quite frankly you have got loads of lovely, fantastic, talented people to go and watch. So I will try. I mean, I can't guarantee how long I'll be, in all honesty, but I will try my best. Right, I'm just going to cut around this as best I can. You can always get in with like an emery board or something a bit later, just to sort of neaten that up a little bit more. I might just do that now just to show you. I'll say I'm not wanting to worry about it overly too much at this point, because I'm going to be covering a lot of this anyway, just to show you that if you're kind of wanting a neater edge, we can go in and do that. But as I said, I'm not going to stress about that right now. Right, so let's find something. As I said, this is a bunch of, I've just gone through and pulled out all my scraps. This is a bit that's arrived and hasn't. I keep these bits with the stickers on and work around them. Right, so that's kind of similar colour, and we can patch that in there. I'm going to just tear down the whole edge though, so that because that square little bit will bother me. Right, so let's get that bit glued down, and then we can start cutting random shapes. And see where we go from there. Right. Actually, let's have a bit more straight. Don't know why. There you go. And then we will neaten off this side as well. Okay. So I've got papers. These particular papers that I'm using currently are the Curious Wonder papers. I think I've got scraps from 3 different paper pads. I just sort of pulled a big pile out. Right, so I want a chimney. I'm just grabbing this because it's the closest to hand. Right, so I'm just going to get a rough shape. Normally I just invent my own shapes, but because I want elements of it to be fairly neat, I'm just going to, it's me, I don't do measuring. If you want measuring, carry on to our lovely Cal, because she does measuring. She does nice measured lovely books. Right, so I've got that, and then I quite like it to have some sort of, I like it to be a bit quirky, so we'll do something like that. Right, that can be our chimney. And then what should we have for our roof? All sorts in here. It's great fun rummaging. Hopefully I'll not spend the whole time rummaging though, that's the problem. That's quite cool, but I'm just not sure whether, is that too much? Yeah, that might be right actually. Right, so I'm going to get a rough shape for this as well. I'm actually cutting this out because I want to ink the edges of my bits and bobs. So I'm not like sticking down and cutting it like I would have earlier. Okay, so we have a roof. This all looks a bit messy. It's when we start, I need to shorten that a bit. It's when we start adding inks and the black doodle lines that we sort of separate the different sections, and it starts to look like less of a headache. So we now need a door. Let's get some nice bright paper in here. Let's get a door out here. So just remember, everything is shapes, and I personally think the wonkier the shape, the better. If you try and get nice little even shapes, it kind of can look a bit strange. So we've got a door. This is fun. Right, so we've got that. Now we need some little windows. Don't know if that thing, not enough of a contrast. This is quite funky. Not quite sure it works as a window. That's quite funky. We'll see. Oh yeah, I think it works. Why not? Right, why not indeed? And I've got that as a roof. Sorry guys, I'm still sort of coughing a little bit. This post-COVID thing is, do you know what? I don't actually know how I'm going to use this. I quite like this wonky donkey strip. I could actually just maybe run it along the bottom of the actual house. Hee, I like that. Right, couple of windows, and then we will be on to the next stage. I'm just trying my best to have everything a little bit different. Okay, that is cool. I'm happy with that. That is my starting point. So the next thing I am going to do now is I will do a little bit with you, and then I will pop myself on fast forward because it is a little bit time consuming. I'm just trying to see if I can dump my pile of papers. Right, so what I'm going to do is I will be taking a coordinating colour that matches whatever paper I'm using. So for this one, I will most likely go something like this, Mermaid Lagoon. And I am going to just ink and blend around the edge. Sorry, this does tend to reflect in the camera a little bit. But when I do this, it gives me a nice crisp edge. Also, I think I might sort of do some funky trees and stuff like that to add to it. And then we'll sort of we've got lots to go yet. I'm just going to have a play, see where it takes me. But this helps to sort of divide the sections a little bit. It creates a bit of a break. So it looks a little bit more defined. Each section looks a bit more defined and you can see it. So I'll start off blending in a colour that sort of matches. Then it's me, you appreciate this. I am going to just edge that in black with my Pro marker. Again, it's just going to help to define those edges. And then I will doodle, but I'll probably doodle once it's stuck down because I like to sort of doodle over the edges a little bit. I'll show you what I mean when I get to that stage. So, see, that stands out so much more now, just that little bit of ink and then the edging. So I'm going to carry on and do all my bits. As I said, I will pop you on fast forward when I do that, and I'll be back when I'm done. How funky is that looking? I love it already. Not even finished and I love it. So I want to do some doodling now. I like to do these sort of like random cross stitch things, or sort of like zigzag patterns like that kind of go off onto both pieces, which is why I didn't do my doodling in separate parts. So I would probably do that, and then I will doodle some bits in, and then with it being a window we'll do something like that. So I'm just going to, and this is when it all starts to come to life. We've got the shadow areas which make it look more defined, and the black line, and then it's like these little doodled details that just help to bring it to life and looks quite perky. And actually that little cross stitch effect is mimicking this paper down here. So again, just going to pop it on another speed up while I get all this doodled bits done, and we will just make them a bit more interesting. We will come back at that after that bit and work out what we're doing next. Some stamps. I was originally wanting to do like a tree, a 3D, like that would sort of come out and it would be all part of the shape of the page, but when I pulled my journal that it's going into, this pretty much only just sits in. It's already protruding a little bit, so I don't know that if I want a big tree sticking at the side of my journal. So as a workaround, I have pulled out some stamps. I was going to use stamps anyway, but I'll show you this one here. I have sort of like these flowers, I've just stamped over what's there and coloured over them. I am still going to do that, but there's a couple that I would quite like to be a bit more dominant. So I've got this tree from Tweet's Hut, and I've got this sort of dangly floral there from Polka Dot Florals. So I think these ones I am going to paper piece on, to this, and then I will stamp and colour with my pencils, just so that we've got a little bit more interest going on. So let me get my stamp block. It's not my normal one. I've actually been very organised. I've been prepping and I've been very organised and tidying up in between each make that I've been doing. I'm sure Louise would be very impressed. So I'm going to do 2 of these. So I don't know why I can't find my normal stamp block. Probably can't see it for looking. Right, so I'm going to stamp 2 of these. The reason being I don't particularly have a brown paper, so that I'll quite happily, I will just pop a bit of colour on that now with some distress ink. I've got some tattered rose here, that'll do. It's probably not quite strong enough. Nope, it's quite dried out. Here we go. Got some vintage photo oxide, that'll do. Just going to get a bit of brown in there. I kind of really smudge that as well because yeah, because the VersaFine is still wet. Right, and then I will try and hit the green areas of this. Not that I'm adverse to having trees in colours other than green. Everything's falling on top of me now. Okay, and we will stamp this twice so we can get some funky green trees. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to fussy cut these bits out. When I've got these edge bits cut out, so when I've cut these out properly, I will again add a little extra green ink to the edges of them just to give a bit of definition. I love paper piecing with stamps. It's not something I do nearly regularly enough, I tell you. And you're like, oh, I should do that more. Oh well, I'm doing it now. So I'm going to do that, and then we will get the blending mat out again. And then we would just get a, I don't have a good green actually, I tend to just, there's a bit of orange there, so I will ink this blue round there. Hopefully it'll pick up. So that just gives that a little bit of definition, and then I am going to cut that out and stick that on there, and I'm going to do the same with the dangly flower. So once I have these elements ready, I'll be back. I've changed my mind again. But you know, that's what happens when you create. As you create, you get ideas. I very rarely, I know some people that like have a notebook and they plan out what they're going to make. I have never been like that. I just sort of start, and when I start, I never quite know what's going to happen. I just sort of, the project leads me in its own direction. And I very rarely have much control over what it is. But yeah, as I like the trees, so instead of doing the upside down one there, I have just done a third one, so that we'll have 2 on one side and 1 on the other. And I have raided the old bit box. Now I am going to have to, we can have this side overlapping a bit, because that's on the outer edge of our journal, but this is on the inner edge, so that is going to get in the way, so I'm going to actually have to chop that off. So we'll chop that. Okay, means we might be able to, where did the top part go? Oh, I don't know, there it is. We might be able to make it look like there's yet another tree. I just quite like doing that when I've cut something, is just swizzing it round, because I hate to throw bits like that away, and I would put it in my bit box, but then it's just a random little bit, whereas quite often it just sort of matches. We've got our little lady honey topped. I think she quite suits the colouring of this, so I'm going to put her down. Like so. And then I've just pulled out a whole load of florals and bits and bobs, and as I said, we can just see what occurs. I did have a longer, I had one of those dies in full. I think I've got a few of these that I've sort of chopped up. There you go, I thought I had one that was in full. Ew, right, let's get some flowers down now. We'll get some flowers down first, that always helps. Right, we'll get some of these down. These, I like these sort of flowers because they just give a little bit of height. So we will do that. I'm trying my best not to overlap the side too much. I like it because it suits the eye, and then I realise I'm going to have to chop it off. So I'll get those stuck down. I'm just going to work down. I don't tend to worry about the fact that it looks a mess there and I've got straight horrible edges. I just keep working down until all of those little edgy bits are covered and sorted. And then we tend to be alright. So I've got a little floral there. See, I do love my bit box. It's just awesome. Right, again, I'm going to be able to do that. I could do with 2 flowers like that, but because it's going to slip over the bottom, I can actually just chop it and then use the other part straight away. So I can get that on. And then, as I said, we're still seeing a little bit of a stalk there. And it's floating in midair, which looks a bit random, but I also do have a tiny little flower here, which hopefully should just deal with that. Now we have that side done. So we just tuck there, that neatens that little edge up, and we have that all sorted. Oh, that's cute. It's got a nice little corner garden. Like it. Right. And we've also got some colourful bumblebees, which we can put about the place. A rainbow bumblebee, because you know it's me. Why wouldn't you have a rainbow bumblebee? Right. Don't know whether we possibly need a bit more interest coming up. I'm not sure that should be white though, so let's get a little bit of colour onto those. So she says scanning, looking for her mat. So I'm just going to grab what's on my desk, seeing as it's here. I'll just get a little bit of green onto here. I'm going to start off with blue. And then add a bit of yellow, because as I said, all my greens seem to be very worn out. But I actually prefer green. I'm never very keen on any box standard greens that you buy, but I find when I sort of mix my own teal and yellow together, I'm much happier with the look. Also there's also sort of a bit of variation in the way it's coloured, which I like. Right, so I think we can do that, and it adds a little bit of interest coming up there, because now we've got a lot of interest here and the rest of it's a bit plain, which is okay. But I might try and rectify that if I can. Okay, so we've got that, and then we can maybe have a little bumblebee just there. So cute. Now it's me, so guess what else I've pulled out? Some clouds. Did I pull? I do have some clouds. that would work. Right, so we'll do that, and then I'll chop the one that goes over here. I'm just trying to get it so that I've got interest going over the whole thing. You know, because more is more is more is more. Sometimes I challenge myself and do something that's slightly more clear and simple, but you know, that very rarely occurs. Get that. I think we're on the home street though. Okay. I like things in threes, so I'm wondering whether we should have a little cloud back here somewhere. I'll slide that in. Oh, could I have it on the top of the chimney? And then I'll neaten that bit off as well. Okay, getting there. So I think we just need a little bit of interest down by her feet. So we will find, I think I'll have a huge amount of hand coloured florals left, but just do something simple like that. Actually, I'm just kind of thinking I've got these, but they're quite, I don't know whether they're quite shiny in comparison to everything else that's on there. I quite like that. I've got a little bit protruding, so we'll just stick with that. And then I did stamp out a sentiment. I'll keep the leaves now. I'm going to have fun when it comes to tackling the other side, because obviously we're going to have these bits to contend with, but we'll work that out when we do it. Right, I'm going to get a little bit of that flower, and then if I do the same and chop it, it means I can just extend it a little bit further. Like so. There we go. Right, so I've got another pink bumblebee. Which I'm not sure where that should go. No, it's not going anywhere. I've also got dangle. Nah, maybe not. It might work as a... Nah. Okay, that's fine. What I am going to do is just grab a couple of pencils in green. These are my rubbish pencils, they're not even the best pencils. And I'm just going to scribble some lines like so, just and over her feet a little bit, just to sort of mimic like a bit of a grass line. I might put some over some of the florals here as well, just for a little bit of continuity. So I've got three shades. I've got a dark, I've got a slightly brighter one here, and then a yellow one. It's a very neon yellow this. Okay, and then I'm just finally going to grab my pens and find the right ones. This one's here. I'm just going to get some of these pink colours, and I'm just going to do little dots in amongst that grass so that it almost looks like little flowers, like so. Okay, and some of the pink ones as well. And it just extends those floral arrangements a little bit. Then finally I did pull out a sentiment. I've cut it in 3, so this came in the same stamp set as the tree came from Tweet's Hut. So home is the starting place of love, hope and dreams. So yeah, I like it with that. What I will just do is get my Pro marker and just edge that. So this has been a great way. I've recycled some junk mail that's come through the door, and I have used my all of this is scraps and stuff that's in my bit box. So I've just used up my scraps, and we've created a piece of art from junk mail and scraps. And I love that. There's something very satisfying about getting some of your scraps used. So there we go. Home is the starting place of love, hope and dreams. So we'll pop that on. And what I will do is I have got a crocodile. That's how I tend to put my holes in things. So I will just clean my desk, grab my crocodile to put the holes in, and pop this into the journal, and I will show you the finished page. Okay, so that is my journal page all finished, and in situ it does sort of come out with the journal a little bit, sorry. It does sort of come slightly out with the journal, but I can live with that. I'm just going to have to be careful about where and how I store the journal so that doesn't get too damaged. But there you go, that is my page made from recycled junk mail. So please don't go and check to see what everyone else has created. They are an amazingly talented bunch, and all their links are below, and we would love to see your recycling or upcycling things too. So if you do, please do share it in our Facebook group. We would love to see. Okay, thank you everyone, take care and goodbye.